Get out of my house! 7 years, Ngozi. 7 wasted years with a barren woman.
Chidi, please, we can try again.
Try again? There's nothing left to try. You are a cost to this family.
Why are you still wasting your breath on this woman? She has stolen 7 years of your life. 7
Mama,
years!
Please, I've tried everything.
You've tried nothing. I think it's time you brought another woman home to teach her how it is done.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel where interesting stories of love, resilience and life-changing moments are told. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share it with your friends and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. The evening sun casts long shadows across the marble floors of the Okafor mansion in Lekki. Chidevere Okafor, Chidi, to those who knew him, was one of Lagos's most successful businessmen. His construction company had built half the luxury estates in Lekki and Ikoyi. But tonight, success meant nothing. Tonight, he was facing the one failure his money couldn't fix. Ngozi wiped her tears with shaking hands, sniffling. "I've been a good wife to you, Chidi. I've stood by you through everything." He scoffed, turning away from her, scoffing. A good wife gives her husband children. A good wife doesn't bring shame to her husband's name. Her voice broke with pain. Shame? Is that all I am to you now? A source of shame? His eyes turned cold as ice. Speaking coldly, "What else should I call you? My mother was right. My friends were right. Even my business partners whisper behind my back. Chidi Okafor, the billionaire who can't even father one child." She sank onto the velvet sofa, her body trembling, sobbing quietly. 7 years of marriage had come to this. Insults, accusations, and a coldness she never imagined possible from the man who once held her hand and promised forever. She looked up at him with red, swollen eyes, whispering desperately, "We never went together for tests. Maybe it's not just me. Maybe we should both..." His fist slammed on the marble table again. "Don't you dare!" The sound echoed through the room, shouting, "Don't you dare try to shift the blame to me. I am a man, Ngozi, an Okafor man. There is nothing wrong with me." Mama Chidi stepped forward, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "Nah, me, my son, why are you still talking to this woman? A tree that will not bear fruit should be cut down." She stood there in her expensive Ankara, her gold jewelry catching the light. She'd never liked Ngozi. From day one, she'd made it clear that her son deserved better, someone from a wealthy family, someone who could give him sons immediately. Ngozi turned to her, pleading, "Mama, please." Mama Chidi hissed loudly, "Don't Mama please me. 7 years and not even a miscarriage. You've wasted my son's precious time he could have used to marry a real woman and fill this house with grandchildren." Chidi nodded, standing straighter. "I want a divorce, Ngozi. I've already spoken to my lawyer. The papers will be ready next week." She gasped, her hand flying to her chest. "Gasp! Next week? Chidi, you can't be serious." He turned away, walking toward the window, turning away coldly. "I've never been more serious in my life. I'm 42 years old, Ngozi. 42. My younger brother has 4 children. My cousin just had twins. Even my driver is expecting his 3rd child. And me, nothing." She stood up, her voice shaking. "And you think that's my fault? You think I wanted this? You think I haven't cried myself to sleep every night, praying, fasting, begging God for a child?" He spun around, his face twisted with anger. "Your prayers clearly don't reach heaven, maybe because you are cursed." The word hung in the air like poison. Cursed. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. "If I'm cursed, Chidi, then why did you marry me?" He spoke without emotion. "Because I didn't know. I thought you were normal. I thought you were like other women, but now I know better." Mama Chidi clapped her hands together. "Exactly. My son has learnt his lesson. Now he will find a proper woman who can give him children." Ngozi's tears flowed harder. I have nowhere to go, Mama. My parents are dead. I have no siblings. This has been my home. He interrupted harshly. It stopped being your home the moment you failed in your duty as a wife. I'll give you 1 week. 1 week to pack your things and leave. If you're still here after that, I'll have security throw you out. She looked at him with desperate eyes, whimpering, Chidi. He raised his voice even louder. 1 week, Ngozi. That's more than generous for a woman who has given me nothing. He stormed toward the door, his expensive shoes clicking against the marble, storming out. His mother followed, her heels clicking behind him. Mama Chidi clicked her tongue loudly as they left. Good riddance. Now my son can find a real woman. Alone in the vast living room, Ngozi collapsed back onto the sofa. Her whole body shook violently, sobbing uncontrollably. The weight of 7 years crashed down at once. 7 years of trying, hoping, praying. 7 years of doctor appointments and herbal remedies and prayer mountains. 7 years of watching Chidi grow colder, more distant, more cruel. She spoke to herself through her tears, talking through her tears. God, why? Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? She looked around the mansion, the life she'd built, the home she'd cared for, the marriage she'd fought to save, the expensive furniture she'd picked out, the curtains she'd chosen, the family photos on the wall that now felt like mockery. All of it gone, because she couldn't give him the one thing his money couldn't buy. She buried her face in her hands, crying harder. Every room in this house held a memory. The kitchen where she'd cooked his favorite meals, the bedroom where she'd held him on difficult nights, the balcony where they'd once watched sunsets together and talked about their future children. But somewhere, beneath all the pain and humiliation, something stirred. She wiped her tears slowly, her breathing steadying, wiping tears, breathing deeply. A tiny spark of defiance flickered in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to this story than Chidi believed. She stood up, walking to the window where Chidi had stood moments before, speaking softly to herself. If I'm leaving this house, I'm leaving with my dignity. And one day, Chidi Okafo, one day, you will know the truth. Maybe the curse wasn't where everyone thought it was. 3 days had passed since Chidi's ultimatum. Ngozi sat in the small apartment of her best friend, Amaka, in Surulere. The contrast couldn't have been starker, from a Lekki mansion to a modest 2-bedroom flat. But here, at least, she felt human again. Amaka placed a cup of hot tea in front of her. Nay, you've been crying for 3 days straight. We need to talk. Ngozi stared at the tea, her eyes still swollen. What is there to talk about, Amaka? My marriage is over. I'm a failure. Amaka sat down across from her, leaning forward. Stop that talk right now. You are not a failure, but I need to ask you something important. She paused. Did Chidi ever get tested? Did he ever go to the hospital with you for fertility tests? Ngozi shook her head slowly. No. He always said it was a waste of time, that men in his family are fertile, that the problem had to be with me. Amaka slammed her hand on the table. That's rubbish, pure rubbish. She stood up, pacing. Ngozi, listen to me. You've spent 7 years blaming yourself for something you don't even know is your fault. Ngozi looked up, tears forming again. But all the doctors said... Amaka interrupted. All the doctors examined you, only you. How can they diagnose a problem when they only examined half of the equation? She sat back down, taking Ngozi's hands. Tomorrow, we're going to Life Hope Medical Center. Dr. Adeyemi is the best fertility specialist in Lagos. You're going to get tested properly. Ngozi pulled her hands away. What's the point, Amaka? Even if I find out the truth, Chidi has already made up his mind. The divorce papers are probably ready. Amaka's voice became stern.
The point is you need to know the truth, not for Chidi, not for his wicked mother, for you, so you can stop carrying shame that doesn't belong to you. The next morning, they sat in Dr. Adeyemi's office at Life Hope Medical Center. The doctor, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and graying hair, reviewed Ngozi's medical history. Dr. Adeyemi looked up from the file. Mrs. Okafor, I see you've had several tests done over the years at different hospitals, but I want to run a comprehensive panel, something more thorough. Ngozi nodded weakly. Whatever you think is necessary, doctor. The test took most of the day. Blood work, ultrasounds, hormone panels, everything. Amaka stayed by her side through it all, holding her hand during the uncomfortable procedures. 5 days later, they returned for the results. Ngozi's hands trembled as they sat in Dr. Adeyemi's consultation room. I'm scared, Amaka. Amaka squeezed her hand. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. Dr. Adeyemi entered with a folder and sat down. She looked at Ngozi with a gentle smile. Mrs. Okafor, I have your results. Ngozi held her breath. Is there something wrong with me? The doctor shook her head slowly. No, my dear, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. She opened the folder, showing them the reports. As you can see here, your hormone levels are perfect. Your ovulation is regular. Your fallopian tubes are clear. Your reproductive system is completely healthy and functioning normally. Ngozi stared at her, unable to process the words. What do you mean? Dr. Adeyemi leaned forward. Mrs. Okafor, I mean that you're perfectly capable of having children. The problem is not with you. The room fell silent. Amaka gasped. Doctor, are you saying? The doctor nodded. If Mrs. Okafor has been unable to conceive for 7 years and her reproductive system is completely healthy, then the issue most likely lies with her husband. Has he been tested? Ngozi's voice came out as a whisper. No, he refused. He said real men don't need to be tested. The doctor sighed deeply. That's unfortunately a common attitude, and it destroyed many marriages. Male factor infertility accounts for about 40% of all infertility cases, but pride and cultural stigma prevent many men from getting tested. Tears started streaming down on Ngozi's face, but this time they were different. These weren't tears of shame. They were tears of relief, anger, vindication, and grief all mixed together. Amaka hugged her tightly. You see, Ngozi, I told you, you've been carrying blame that never was yours to carry. Dr. Adeyemi handed Ngozi the full report. Keep this, you might need it. And Mrs. Okafor, she waited until Ngozi looked up. Don't let anyone make you feel less than whole. You are not broken, you never were. Outside the hospital, Ngozi stood in the parking lot, clutching the report to her chest. The Lagos sun beat down on them, but she felt like she was seeing clearly for years. She looked at Amaka. 7 years, Amaka. 7 years of thinking I was cursed. 7 years of his insults, his mother's mockery, the whispers at family gatherings, and all along, her voice broke. All along, it wasn't even me. Amaka wiped her own tears. That man destroyed you for nothing, for his own pride. Ngozi's sadness slowly transformed into something else, something harder, stronger. He wanted to divorce me because I couldn't give him children, but he's the one who... She couldn't even finish the sentence. Amaka nodded. What are you going to do? Ngozi looked at the report in her hands. Right now, nothing. The divorce will go through. I'm not fighting for a man who threw me away like garbage. She folded the report carefully. But one day, Chidi Okafor will know the truth. One day, he'll realize what he's done. They walked to Amaka's car. As Amaka started the engine, she glanced at Ngozi. What will you do now? Where will you go? Ngozi stared out the window at the bustling Lagos streets. I'll rebuild. I'll start over. I don't know how yet, but I will. She touched the report in her bag. And maybe, just maybe, I'll prove that I was never the broken one. For the first time in 7 years, Ngozi felt a weight lift off her shoulders. The shame that had crushed her spirit was beginning to crack. She wasn't cursed, she wasn't barren, she wasn't the problem. And somewhere in her heart, a quiet promise formed. Chidi, you will regret this, not because I will seek revenge, but because the truth always comes to light.
6 months had passed since the divorce was finalized. Ngozi had moved into a small but comfortable flat in Yaba, using the little savings she'd hidden during her marriage. Amaka had helped her start a small catering business, and slowly, life was taking a new shape. She stirred a pot of jollof rice in her tiny kitchen. Amaka, the order for Mrs. Okonko's wed party is almost ready. Amaka packed the food into containers, cheerfully. You see, I told you this business would work. Your cooking is the best in Lagos. Ngozi smiled, a real smile, something that had become more frequent lately. It's been a long journey. Some days I still wake up and can't believe everything that happened. Her phone buzzed. She picked it up and her face fell. It's a wedding invitation. Amaka looked up. Who's getting married? Ngozi's hands trembled as she read. Chidi. Chidi is getting married. Amaka rushed over, taking the phone. To someone named Adaora Onwosu, the wedding is in 3 months at Oriental Hotel. She looked at Ngozi. Why would he send you this? Ngozi sat down slowly, her legs weak. To mock me, to show me he's moved on, to prove that he found someone who can give him what I supposedly couldn't. She laughed bitterly. Itilin has a personal note. I hope you can attend to celebrate my new beginning, as if I was his ending. Amaka threw the phone on the counter. That wicked man, he's trying to humiliate you publicly. Don't go, Ngozi, just ignore it. But something shifted in Ngozi's expression. She picked up the medical report she always kept nearby. Maybe I should go. Amaka's eyes widened. Are you mad? Why would you give him that satisfaction? Ngozi stood up, her voice becoming stronger. Today, I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of carrying shame that isn't mine. He wants to parade his new wife in front of me? Fine, but I won't come as the broken, pitiful ex-wife he expects. 2 weeks later, Ngozi was delivering food for a corporate event at Echo Hotel. As she arranged the dishes, a tall, handsome man in an expensive suit approached her. Excuse me, did you make this asson? She turned, wiping her hands on her apron. Yes, sir. Is something wrong with it? He smiled warmly. Wrong? It's the best I've ever tasted. I'm Olumide Adeleke. I own several restaurants in Lagos and Abuja. He handed her his business card. I'd like to discuss a business partnership with you. Ngozi took the card, stunned. A partnership? Olumide nodded enthusiastically. Your cooking is exceptional. I've been looking for someone with authentic Nigerian flavor to head my new restaurant in Victoria Island. The pay is excellent and you'd have full creative control of the menu. Before she could respond, a small commotion erupted near the entrance. A little boy, about 3 years old, ran past, laughing. Daddy, catch me! Olumide turned. Tunde, careful! He looked at Ngozi apologetically. My son, I'm a single father. His mother passed away 2 years ago. Something in his eyes, a mixture of sadness and resilience, resonated with Ngozi. She understood loss. She understood rebuilding. Over the next few weeks, Ngozi and Olumide worked together on the restaurant project. He was kind, respectful, and nothing like Chidi. He listened when she spoke. He valued her opinions, and slowly, unexpectedly, Ngozi found herself laughing again, genuinely laughing. One evening, as they closed the restaurant after a successful opening week, Olumide turned to her. turning to her, speaking softly. Ngozi, can I ask you something personal? She looked at him. Yes? He hesitated. I know you never talk about your past, about family. I know it's not my business, but... She sighed deeply. I was married for 7 years. My ex-husband blamed me for not having children. He divorced me, called me cursed, barren. His mother said I was a tree that wouldn't bear fruit. Olumide's face darkened with anger. That's terrible. I'm sorry you went through that. Ngozi continued. But I found out the truth. I got tested after the divorce. There was nothing wrong with me. It was his, but he was too proud to get tested. He destroyed our marriage over his own ego. Olumide stepped closer. Then he was a fool, a complete fool. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. Over the following months, their professional relationship grew into friendship, and friendship grew into something deeper. 8 months after her divorce, Olumide took her to a quiet beach in Lekki. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. He held her hands. Ngozi, I know you've been hurt. I know you have every reason to be cautious, but I love you. I love your strength, your kindness, your spirit. She felt tears forming. Olumide continued. I'm not asking you to forget your past. I'm asking you to build a future with me. Marry me, Ngozi. Be my wife. Be a mother to Tunde. He paused. And maybe, if God wills it, we can have more children together. She looked at this man, this kind, successful, gentle man who saw her worth when she'd almost forgotten it herself. Yes, Olumide, I'll marry you. They married quietly 3 months later, a small ceremony with close friends and family. No elaborate show, no society wedding, just love, respect, and genuine happiness. And then, 4 months into their marriage, Ngozi felt familiar symptoms. Nausea in the mornings, fatigue. She went to the hospital with Amaka. Dr. Adeyemi smiled at her. Congratulations, Mrs. Adeleke, you're pregnant. And, she looked at the ultrasound screen, it appears to be twins. Ngozi burst into tears. Twins? I'm going to have twins? Amaka screamed with joy. I told you that you were never the problem. As her pregnancy progressed, Ngozi's life transformed completely. Olumide was attentive, loving, and excited. Little Tunde was thrilled to become a big brother. Her catering business, now expanded into 3 restaurants, was thriving. One afternoon, 5 months pregnant with a visible baby bump, she received another message. It was the reminder for Chidi's wedding, now just 2 weeks away. Olumide noticed her staring at her phone. What is it, my love? She showed him the invitation. My ex-husband's wedding. He invited me months ago, probably to humiliate me. Olumide read it, then looked at her belly. Looking at her belly, then speaking with a slight smile. Are you going to go? Ngozi placed her hand on her stomach, feeling her baby's move. Yes, I am, but not alone and not as the broken, pitiful ex-wife he expects. She looked at Olumide, looking at her husband. Will you come with me? He kissed her forehead. Anywhere you go, I go. And in that moment, Ngozi knew exactly how she would arrive at Chidi's wedding.